BOSCO BYTES, brought to you from Don Bosco Youth Services, Part 1, Episode 6. Don Bosco meets Michael Magone, a difficult lad. What's his story? It was an autumn evening in 1857. At a train station in Carmanola, 30 kilometers away from Turin, Don Bosco is waiting for a train to take him back home. The bell in the tower sounded as if it was 7 o'clock in the evening. The sky was overcast. The landscape is wrapped in a dark and depressing fog that slowly turns into a drizzle. Visibility was reduced to a few meters. The lamppost on the railway platform gave a weak glow. Clear sounds of boys' voices seemed to be coming from the fog. "Wait! Catch him! Run! Run faster! Stop him!" One voice seemed to dominate over the game. He seemed to be directing, giving orders, and everybody obeyed him. Don Bosco wondered, whose voice is that? He seemed to have full control over the others. And so Don Bosco got up to go in that direction. As soon as his dark outline appeared through the fog, everyone else disappeared except one. The lad took a few steps forward with his hands akimbo as if in defense. And he asked the priest, "Who are you and why are you disturbing our games?" Don Bosco smiled at him and said, "I am a friend of yours and I want a little recreation with you and your friends. But who are you?" "I'm Michael Magone, Commander-in-Chief of the Games." That was his title. In the meantime, a few boys came around the other two and were shouting, "General, General, are you okay?" "My dear Magone, how old are you?" "I am 12 years old." "What work do you do?" "The work of doing nothing," he smiled. "What have you been doing till now?" "I go to school. I am in the 2nd grade." "What about your father? What does your father do?" "My father died a long time ago." "And your mother?" "My mother, she stays at home. She feeds me and my little brothers, and we all of us give her a very hard time." Don Bosco looked at him and said, "And what about your future? What do you want to do in the future?" "Ah, what? Future? I have no plans for my future." Don Bosco is impressed by his frankness of speech and a certain degree of seriousness as well. Don Bosco understood the seriousness and the dangers into which these little boys would run into if they were left on their own devices. On the other hand, it seemed to the saint that if their liveliness, their strong willpower and enterprising nature were channeled in the right direction, they would succeed admirably well. This is what Don Bosco wrote about the young Mikey Magone. "Well, my son," said Don Bosco to little Michael Magone, "would you like to give up this awful life of a street urchin? Would you like to learn a trade or to study?" "Yes, definitely I would," said the little general. "This wretched life of mine doesn't suit me. Already so many of my friends are already in the reformatory and I wouldn't want to end up there." There was a lot of sincerity in what he said. By now the train had already come in and Don Bosco was there. The train was beginning to move and the young Michael looked at him and said, "But you haven't told me your name. You haven't told me where you come from." Don Bosco put his hand over the boy and prayed over him, and then he took a medal from his pocket and gave it to him and said, "Tomorrow go to your parish priest and tell him that the priest who gave you this medal would like to have some information about you." Don Bosco got into the train that was already moving out. Michael Magone had not even known whom he was speaking to, and he said, "But you haven't told me your name. You haven't told me where you come from." Don Bosco said, "Go to the parish priest and show him the medal." Michael had a strong desire to find out who the priest was. He could not wait till the following morning. He goes to his parish priest, Father Erisio, and he tells him of his meeting, and he showed him the medal. And the parish priest immediately knew, looking at the medal, the image of Mary, Help of Christians, he knew that it was Don Bosco. And so he got down immediately, took out a piece of paper and began to write about Michael Magone. This is what he wrote. Michael Magone is a poor fatherless boy. His mother has to earn for the family and hence she cannot take care of him. He is mentally very bright, but his inconsistency and carelessness have occasioned several times his expulsion from school. He has, however, done fairly well in his second grade. His character is a wee bit difficult to tame. In school and in catechism class, he is a noisemaker. When he is absent, there is peace around. And also when he goes away, calm returns to the classroom. And finally, the parish priest added, but he is well accepted by his companions. The following morning, armed with a letter and permission from his mother, Michael Magone takes the train from Carmanola and goes to Turin. He goes to Valdoco. He runs to Don Bosco and he says, I am Michael Magone, whom you met at the railway station. He gives him the letter. Don Bosco read the letter and immediately welcomed Michael Magone to be in his oratory at Valdoco. The little general promised Don Bosco that he would do all it took to study, to be a good boy. And then he told Don Bosco these words, if a scoundrel like me could be sufficiently good to become a priest, I would gladly become one like you. He began his studies seriously. The first days, no doubt, were difficult. Singing, shouting, running, jumping, cackling were the only activities that made him happy. But it was wonderful to see him when the bell rang and he ran out of the classroom like a cannonball. It's time to break with the devil, wrote Don Bosco. A month later, like everyone else, slowly sadness began to enter in. Michael seemed to lose his happy manner. He became very pensive. He did not take part in the games anymore. Dear Magone, I need you to give me, the father of your soul, a moment. I need you to tell me what's troubling you. What's hurting you? What's disturbing you? Michael hesitated. He couldn't find the right words. But ultimately, Don Bosco knew that it was his conscience. His conscience was very confused. Don Bosco prepared him for a good confession, and that brought a smile back to his face. A few months later, we are in 1858. Suddenly, the little general becomes seriously ill. He has an illness of his digestive tract. His situation got worse in a few days, and Michael realized the gravity of his sickness, but he was not agitated. He was ready to die, for he was at peace with God, at peace with himself. And now he needed to make peace with his mother. And so he told Don Bosco, I ask a favor of you. Tell my mother to forgive me for all the sorrows I have caused her in my life. I am really sorry. Tell her that I love her. And to his companions, he told Don Bosco, tell them to make a good confession and I will wait for them in heaven. January 21st, 1859, at the age of 14, Michael, the little general on earth, left for heaven. Let's rewind. Let's go back to those words at the railway station at Carmanola, where the little general tells Don Bosco, who are you and why are you disturbing our games? And Don Bosco replied, I am a friend of yours and I want a little recreation with you and your friends. This was one of Don Bosco's ways of conquering the hearts of young people. Don Bosco takes the first step towards those in need. The heart of a shepherd is always attuned to the voice and the pain of a struggling sheep. Unlike the other priest of his time, Don Bosco seemed to be a disturbing one. Why are you disturbing our games. This was Don Bosco's style. Don Bosco took the first step, even if it meant disturbing the schedule of someone if there was a need. Don Bosco realized this was his mission, this was his vocation. At the dream at the age of 9, Don Bosco saw the lambs and the wolves. In the oratory, he had a Dominic Savio that represented the lovely lambs. He had Michael Magone that represented the powerful wolves. Don Bosco realized that with his educational method of reason, religion and loving kindness, he was able to win over any difficult boy. My dear friends of Don Bosco, cooperators, Salesian past pupils, anybody listening to this, the life of Mikey Magone is a challenge to each one of us to understand that there is no difficult lad. There is no difficult youngster. Every youngster can be won over. Every youngster can be won over. And this is the great challenge. Don Bosco's method of loving kindness, of reason and of religion were the ways in which he was able to win over any difficult lad, to give them a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, to be connected with God, to be connected with self, and finally to be connected with those around. The life of Mikey Magone challenges you and me to reach out to all those there on the street, all those in need of help. No matter what time of the day, no matter how dark the evening may be, there is always someone waiting for help. You can be that one. Take the step like Don Bosco, even if it means disturbing the regular schedule of theirs, to bring them to a greater sense of life and of meaning and of connection with God and with one another. Thank you, and God bless you.